There's a lot of reasons to do some market timing, do some trading, try to maybe get into a sector, get out of a sector. But again, I also think for almost everyone, that should not be something that's done with almost all their money, which we do see some people trying to do that. Right? So don't get blinded by the typical advertising that we see, that how easy it is and everything. And it's all okay if we use some of our money.
Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in your part of the world. We're about to get started here. Y'all put me, go find the webinar chat and post in there the number 4 for the 4th of July. Tell me if you can hear and see. You should be able to see critical state of the market. You should be able to hear me and see me. All that means you can pop a 4 in there like a boss. Thank you, thank you. My people are here and they are showing up. All right, y'all. Today's gonna be really interactive. If you've been to one of our events before, then you know that's how we like to do it. So you guys keep your fingers on the trigger over there and be mindful that when Serge is asking you guys for help, just jump right in. All right, here we go. I'm gonna move him to the webinar. Let's see if that helps him out. Looks like he's backstage. There you go.
There you go. That's better.
There you are. Yeah, they've got this new backstage thing. I think you were back there. You were in the green room.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, excellent. That's what I like to hear. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about 2 key topics that we believe are important for you right now. The critical update, this is our state of the market. This is going to be some powerful information. You're not going to hear anybody else talking about this kind of stuff. You're only going to hear Serge talking about it. He's going to basically set up for you what's going on right now and give you a forecast of what's to come. Now, as soon as he finishes his state of the market, we're going to roll right into our information that we believe is going to be life-changing for you. Okay, it's like, why are you stuck and how can you actually change? And if you feel like you're stuck in your trading right now, raise your right hand and say, my name is Jeanette Sims and I am stuck. My name is Dan, Jim, Robert, Luis. I am stuck. If you're stuck, then you're in the right place because we're going to help you with some ideas on how to get out of that. All right, risk disclaimer. Risk is always super important for us. Past performance, not indicative of future results. It's not just the lawyers that tell us to put it up there. It's a decision we make that we want you to always be thinking about the risk before you take the trade. Always risk first. If you hang around with Serge and all his members for any amount of time, you're going to understand that if we can't afford the risk of the trade, we're not going to take it, period. And you gotta have your own personal tolerance for that, and we'll help you figure out what that is along the way. There he is, the founder of the Steady Trader, Serge Berger, my friend, my colleague, my partner in crime over here at Steady Trader. This guy's been around for a long time. He's got his ears to the ground on some of the most powerful, I'm talking hedge funds, traders, think about big old money houses in the world. Serge has access to all of them, and he shares that with his members every day. And that's something I don't see in this arena of people out there that are training you on their way. He's got a lot of software tools. He's built them on his own to help his personal trading and process, and then extended that to our members. So we're going to be sharing some of that today too. He's got 2 kids; they're beautiful, 2 girls, and he likes to snowboard. So that's what I know about him. There's me. I'm here today to co-host with him, help you out in the background with Q&A, and to jump in when I have questions too that I think you might want to be asking him. I've been around for 25 plus years. I started in the futures market. That was a very long time ago. My first trade ever was on the E-mini S&P, and that was when you had to phone in your order and then call back to get your fill, and then call back to put in a stop. It was pioneer days for sure. All right, so we're going to start with this now. When Serge sent me this topic and this slide deck 2 mornings ago, I went. Actually, it was yesterday morning because he's in Zurich and I'm in Alabama. I woke up and he'd already done it. And the crossroads warning, and I went, what does that mean? Like, what is he talking about? And then I started looking at the slides, and I went, holy shit! Like excuse my French. We sometimes we drop a CUSS word on here. Close your ears if it's not for you. uh, Summer illusion, the crossroads. I was like, okay, well, I've been day trading a lot, following some of his indicators, so I need to go understand what it is he's talking about. And when I went through the slides, I was like, gosh, I hope 1,000 people show up for this training because they all need to hear it. So we're going to do this. Then we're going to transition to bridging the gap. We hope you stick with us through the entire thing. We'll try to keep it to less than 45 minutes for you guys who have big fourth plans that you're about to go hit. Serge, I'm going to give you the power to take over the PowerPoint so that you can share your
Yep.
deck.
Perfect. Alrighty. So let's do this.
All right, guys. So y'all give Serge your ear. He's going to do this. Then we're going to jump back in and talk about issues that we know traders are having. And then we're going to make a special offer to you. And then we're going to take tickers. So along the way, when you're listening to him, if you've got ideas about what you want him to analyze with our tools, save those till the end, and we're going to hit them hard for you. We'll stay to the very end till all the questions are answered. All right, Serge, it's all you. I'm going to step back.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm just opening up the questions box so I can see what people are typing in as well. And then the thing here. Okay, perfect. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. As Jeanette says, we are, I think, at crossroads, and right now, as we're here today, we're seeing some second quarter markups in the market on our hedge fund call this morning that we do with a few hedge funds and trading desks and family offices around the globe. We talked about that, sort of those games being played. That's nothing new. It's been going on forever. So basically, what happens is that funds, be that a mutual fund or something else, or hedge funds. I mean, they're kind of putting things into their portfolio to be able to show investors that they owned it in the second quarter or in the previous month. And so that's kind of what's happening right now. That's why you're seeing some of the things kind of all over the place. But I think what's really happening is underneath the surface, we're starting to see a lot more volatility. It's very possible we're going to be subdued this week because of the holiday shortened trading week, and it's just peak summer and it's sweaty everywhere. And so people are kind of just, a bit tired. But nonetheless, there's underneath the surface, I think things are brewing. If you look at the other day, this was on last week, Thursday. We had a mini flash crash. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but down 3.5%. In 27 minutes, raised about $1 trillion of market cap. Those are pretty big moves. And what's actually happening is that the tech sector actually saw outflows of about $15 billion last week. The week prior, we actually had inflows of, I believe, 9 billion, if I had that correct. 8.5 or so a billion inflows. So we're starting to see investors shift things around, and at the same time, we have basically money supply that's increasing at the largest monthly increase in 5 years. So this is basically, central bank accommodation, if you will. You can kind of look at it that way. It's not exactly the same thing, but basically liquidity. And so that's basically inflationary, not liquidity, excuse me, money supply. There's a difference, but it's inflationary, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Retail investors, for the most part, are loving their semiconductor stocks. I just this morning did a member session, and if I had a penny for every person that asked me about, they're charging a penny stock, I'd probably have enough money to buy lunch today. So it's just incredible where people's minds are at. Ironically, if you look at the tech sector, and I had What's this? Oh, this was early this morning. Had a call. I was out of town for a meeting last night, and then drove back into town this morning. Had a call early morning, very early morning, with one of my colleagues, and we were talking about the. In fact, let me see. We were talking about um, the the interesting statistic that I think a lot of people aren't really focusing on, and that's what you're looking at your screen here right now, where you can see basically a lot of stocks have been cut in half. Particularly if you look at your left-hand column, Netflix, Palantir, some of these stocks have just been cut in half, and no one seems to care because a few stocks are still holding up the market. So the S&P 500 will not tell you this. On top of that, we're starting to see a little bit of doubts here and there from the street. I was talking to one of my ex-colleagues who still is at one of the large investment banks and trying to get some color on, this sort of OpenAI maybe pushing its IPO to 2027. It's just a rumor right now, but there is a possibility of that. Again, that's all I know. And we remain very much in a rotational market. That's just the bottom line. So I think there's a lot of complacency. We're in a very momentum-driven market. So for those of you guys that are joining here today, we're happy to give you access to our momentum indicator afterwards, where we continue to see these big momentum moves, like even just right here, right now, today. You can see, the NASDAQ 100 just got into a green buy zone and then boom, took off. So we'll show you guys later. So if you want access to that, just stick around for a bit and we'll gladly accommodate that request. But what's interesting is that the buying and selling is happening pretty quickly. And it's because big investors are shifting their money. So I'll be interested to see how July works. I think July could be a really interesting month this year because we have midterms as well. So again, institutional investors are certainly moving their money, and there's a lot of complacency. 75% of people are probably sort of in vacation mode. That is always interesting, and I think it's just it's just a real crossroads where you really have to think: do you want to be, the hunter, or do you want to be prey? And I think just passively holding some of these big tech stocks, again, some of them have already been cut in half or a third, might be problematic. And we have a lot of leverage in the system. So if you look at the amount of money that has been going into the 3 times levered NASDAQ 100 ETF, the TQQQ, it's up 200% and since April. The 3 times levered semiconductor ETF is up 300%. That's up 34 billion. And leveraged Asian ETFs as well, where there's a lot of gambling going on as well. So, between leveraged ETFs and crypto liquidity kind of drying up, I think we're pretty at a pretty important spot. On the inflation side, the core readings of inflation have been going up. We had a pretty decent number last week in terms of way higher than thought. And it's not just inflation. Like, I had dinner with my daughter the other day, or this was actually all the back in March. We went to like a Chili's or something. I think, $58 before tax, by the way, for 2 fajitas and like an iced tea and a margarita without alcohol. I mean, that's just not really where things need to be heading. But that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, for example, electronics inflation. And basically what that means is something called AI inflation. I don't know if you guys have heard of AI inflation before. It's kind of a new term. We just had, for example, Microsoft last week talked about increasing prices on its Xbox. Of course, Apple, and that's the big one here. Apple's looking at hiking its prices by a few $100 to its MacBook Pro and Air and the iPad Pro. And, chip shortages. So that's actually kind of not where we want to see things go. In fact, Apple on that day erased about $220 billion worth of market cap. I think it's rebounded a bit since, but these are fast moves, and underneath the surface, there's just deterioration of risk. Crypto is, I think, kind of a leading indicator of that. And this is not a bearish comment on crypto. I think there's a story there, but I'm just not quite sure there's a lot of conviction there right now. And so
If I think about this summer, I think volatility is here to stay, and this presents an opportunity to capitalize on much broader swings. I think the time to prepare is right now because, and I'll walk you guys through this. Some of these uh, major market cap stocks like Microsoft, Meta, Netflix, Palantir, and Oracle. I mean, without Oracle, that's $5 trillion worth of market cap. And some of these stocks, I mean, again, Microsoft been cut in half, Meta, I think even more, and they've all changed their trend. Right. So we've seen trend changes from um, basically from bullish trend to neutral to bearish for Netflix. That's the background color. Uh, and people just are not aware of that. You look at Palantir, for example, it went from bullish trend to the black background color, which is neutral trend to bearish trend. So these are major moves that are taking place in the market. And I think, even if you look at the volatility underneath the surface, so the volatility in tech is now at highs we haven't seen in 2 decades relative to the volatility in the S&P 500. So underneath the surface, there's a lot happening, and I think it will be interesting to watch the next couple months. I'd be a bit careful. It's not a recommendation. The largest sector ever, sort of a concentration right now is tech. Previously, we had a large tech concentration back in the year 2000, and before then, energy was a very, very big allocation in the early 1980s in the S&P. But we're kind of way off the charts now, and this is not even correct. I mean, the S&P 500 is actually closer to almost 50% in technology stocks. So it's not going to take much for a real flush, and I think that's really kind of where we are, what we're concerned about. So Jeanette, let's continue on this thought. Do you want to pass it back to you, or for a minute? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, so I'm gonna let me grab this and get to the slide that I want to be on.
I just stopped my share so you can share your screen quickly.
Okay. Just bear with me.
Does that make sense, folks? If anyone has any questions on this stuff, by the way, so far, just to give you some context, let us know. I'll be happy to address some of these questions a bit later on to make sure everyone gets their questions answered on this.
And look, guys, it's a lot, right? It's a lot when you start thinking about all the different things that he just said, and like, what does that mean to you? And for me, it's what it means is I better be surrounded with somebody who knows what's up, and that's our guy Serge, right? He knows what's up because he just told us, and I've watched him do these sessions. I don't know how many times in my life, and then just watched the things that he said. Like I said earlier, things nobody else was talking about, things that the predictions, the things that he said were, I mean, talking years and years and years, y'all, like calling bond yields going to zero, calling this big heat seeker trade, calling the trade of the decade, all these big picture things that he has seen happen in his life and told us about way in advance, like the gold trade I was in way before anybody else. He told the members. I heard him say it, and I went, okay, I'm gonna test those waters. I've always been in silver. I've never been in gold. I did it, and that thing paid me in spades. I'm talking like, get out the way. So we're gonna keep talking about what's going on with the current state of the market, and we're gonna also shift a little bit here and talk about what we know is holding you back as a trader. And the reason that traders stay stuck and don't see the results they're looking for, like we have found, it is not what people think. People think, if I could get just one more indicator, if I could get just one more piece of software, if I could just get one more tool, if I could just get one more strategy, then that is going to be what would take me over the top. And so I want y'all to put a yes in the chat, the webinar chat. Put a yes in there if you have ever bought a course and felt stuck, bought a newsletter, continued to not get the results, couldn't mirror the results of the newsletter, talking like newsletters that have 20 years of a track record, and you see the proof and that's why you buy it, but then you can't make it happen. Got a software. We've all done this. I mean, even me, you guys know, Like, don't be ashamed here. We've all done it. I'm totally guilty of it. All three of these actually, because if it existed along the way, then I went and got it to see if I could get it to help me. And along the way, all that stuff, half of it I didn't even use, right? And so we don't want you to beat yourself up over this because, all right, the yeses are coming in, Serge. All right, so you guys have been there and done that, and it's I say this all the time. It's so common for retail traders to want to test a lot of waters before they can swim, and the fact that that crap or stuff, I'm not going to call it crap. Some of it's not crap. Maybe it just didn't work for you. The fact that you guys are here and still looking and still searching. I mean, I see members of ours who have watched this training in sections, and they're still here today listening for that one more piece of information, or maybe they didn't pick it up the first time they heard us say it. They keep coming back because they are eager to treat trading like a business, right? To treat it like it's something you're serious about. It's something you have to keep sharpening your knife on, and that is the way it works. It's the only way you're going to be good at it. Don't beat yourself up. It's so common, guys. It is so common. And so, speaking of treating trading like a business, I'm gonna bring Serge in so he can share. We have these exact insights on what we see members year after year after year, thousands of people coming in and out the door, people we broke bread with, tell us their story, and then we jump in and help them fix the problem. And we'll show you in a little bit a bunch of members who are praising it this morning, right? All right. So Serge, are you ready to take
Yep.
the screen back?
Yep, I'll take it
Okay.
back. Perfect.
Let me make you the host. Or did you make yourself the host? There you go.
Perfect. All right, thanks, Jeanette. So let's
Promise.
walk through this. So, after when you watch markets for a long time, at some point, you kind of start to see what resonates and where the issues really are. And I think, if I look at my my time at JP Morgan, it was one of those things where you learn differently when you're in a real environment. So I think the real problem isn't so much, information, tools, or alerts. I think those things are great, but they only get us so far. Now, I will say that you do actually need a tool, right? But it's implementation that's a problem. So you do need a tool, and there's a lot of really crappy tools out there, because we're in a rotational market. And so if you guys want to, we're happy to give you access to our trend ruler indicator at the end of this. If you stick around, we'll give you access to it. The trend ruler indicator, what it does, just so you conceptually understand how the market rotation works, basically when money is rotating into something, we get a green ribbon and it's basically a buy, right? In this case, you can see the stock went up. Or in this case, through the green ribbon, and we're talking about the ribbon at the bottom. That's these red dots and then the green dots. And as soon as they turn green, it's a buy. When it turns back to red, it's a sell or a get out. And you do need a tool that actually works. But I'm telling you, equally important, you need a tool that actually can be used repeatably. And that's important because so many things I see are just complete la-la land, no realistic ways of being able to use it repeatedly. But once you've got that tool, you have to actually use it. And that's the real problem. And so again, we're happy to give you guys access afterwards if you want to. Just stick around for a bit and we can make that happen for those that want. So when we look at the kinds of people that are out there in the markets, and we polled our users, from power users to others, we basically came across 4 different types of situations. Some people were hesitant. Some people were sort of pre-retiree and they had different issues. Some people had no time, and other people were totally overwhelmed. And so when you look at these 4 people, here's kind of what it came down. So one of the type of people we tend to see is a pre-retiree. In this case, this person said that she's been working hard for years and finally getting close to retirement. So she was working very hard, basically. And then she told us that our tools have helped her to kind of close the financial gap, but the clock is really ticking, and she doesn't really have time to figure it out slowly, so she needs to move fast. That sounds familiar to you guys. Type in a PR, which stands for pre-retiree. Type in PR into the into the questions box, the chat box. So this person's close to the finish line, but needs to close the gap. Another person was a hesitant person, and we see this a lot. So this is a person that, shows up to our trainings, and then he essentially told us that he hasn't been trading for a while. He stopped because he got burned too many times and all sorts of stuff out there, and he just can't get himself to pull the trigger anymore. So basically, this is a person that wants to trade and be in the markets, but he can't get himself to pull the trigger. So if you can relate to that, type in an H, and you might be like in one of multiple categories. We see that a lot as well. It's not just one category that you fit into, which of course makes a lot of sense. Time-starved professional. So this is a person that enjoys what we're doing. He or she has some tools, but the work schedule gets in the way. And so the goal is to become a more full-time trader doing this, or investor. Within, usually they have like a 6 to 12, 25-month time frame, but they need the right environment to succeed that fits the lifestyle right now. So type in an X if that's you. Anyone fit into this? And again, you guys might fit into multiples of these. So that would be more of a time-starved person, got the tools, just doesn't have the time. And then lastly, and we know a lot of people fit into this. This is the overwhelmed person. This is a very simple thing to overcome. We can help you overcome this. But this is a person that's been going back and forth in trading, but feels overwhelmed and confused and is kind of unsure which tools to use in which situation. He's got the arsenal, but needs the roadmap and guidance. So type in O if you're overwhelmed, if that fits your description, right? Got everything, but you can't make it work together. And so those 4 types aren't where they want to be because they are doing everything on their own. That's the bottom line for what we see. So what they're missing is actually, believe it or not, it's actually structure, right? And repetition. So structure, repetition, guidance, and they need some feedback, and really they have to be held a bit accountable, right? And so you need the right environment for that. And so yes, you need the right tool. And again, we're happy to give you access to our trend ruler indicator, which, by the way, I should show you this as well. This is the NASDAQ 100. This is live right now. You guys can see we received when the green ribbon turned green. We're in turn from red to green, became a buy, and so far the NASDAQ 100 is up 80 basis points. This is just an intraday chart. The same exact thing would apply on the swing trading charts. This is an intraday chart. Excuse me. It applies also on the daily charts and also and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, and like Dan is saying, so Dan, if you were to use this here, you see exactly how that's been working, right? People talk about gold and how that surprised them. Well, what's surprising is just the fact that momentum moves quickly. So this is a daily chart, and you can see the GLD chart or the gold chart started turning bearish, right? Where that green background color turned red, and ever since then, the gold has just been collapsing down 12% just since then. We've had previous sell signals over the past few months. So you need the right environment. It's a little bit like, you can think about a seed, right? A seed has everything that it needs to become a fruitful tree, but if it's planted in poor soil, it never actually reaches full potential, right? If there's no water either. So trading works the same way. You can have the right information, you can have great tools, and you can even have good instincts. But without the right environment, structure, and guidance, growth becomes very, very challenging. And, if you plant it in the right spot, the seed, and you surround yourself by the right environment in trading, you can get to your goals, or, and the tree can grow stronger and healthier and produce a lot more fruit. So, which gets me back to JP Morgan. So when I used to work at JP Morgan, for example, what was great wasn't so much a strategy that I learned, it was the environment. It was not a strategy. It really was the environment. And so what that means is that I was every day exposed to all these setups, and you eyes kind of develop pattern recognition, not just chart patterns, obviously, but just what's going on in the markets. And, every day I would get feedback from senior traders and investment bankers in real time, live, and they would hold you accountable, right? I remember one day my managing director flew in from another city, and he gave me a whole bunch of deadlines. I had to do this, that, and the other by then. And of course, repetition, right? You do this every day, every week, every month, same process, same checklist, same structure, every session, with as little exceptions as possible.
And that's really where I think over the years my confidence came from. It was being in the right environment every single day and witnessing a process of one of the most prestigious investment banking trading floors in the world. And so that was my biggest lesson. It wasn't a strategy; it really was the environment. So fast forward to today, we took that same approach, that same environment, and tested it with everyday traders. In fact, we did a couple of what's called trade-a-thons. So we would trade live with people for and analyze live for an entire month, or we would do like multi-day boot camps, or of course within our entire suite of programs. But what we didn't realize is that it wasn't actually more tools or more indicators and more training that people need, although they did need one tool that actually works that they can use. That's why we're happy to give you our indicator. We were wrong on that, to be honest with you. I mean, and it was a big wake up call for Jeanette and I. And what people actually really need is more confidence, right? The belief that they could actually execute, not just learn, flow seamlessly in and out of the market. So it's more repetition, more coaching, and ultimately more accountability. And you know, members are seeing results when they do stuff every day, the same thing, within days of being in a live environment. In a live environment, we get a different outcome. It's just what it is. This is what the right environment will do for you as well. So imagine in 90 days from today, you know exactly not only what to trade, when to trade, why to trade, but also when not, and when and maybe why not to trade. So there's no second guessing anymore, no chasing, and no random entries anymore. Just a repeatable process, and that is a state of mind that absolutely can be achieved. You know, and so we've seen over sort of a 90-day period when people go through this process every single day, in the first sort of 30 days, they reach more confidence, they stop doubting, then they become much more consistent. So the peaks and valleys sort of, flatten out. And ultimately by sort of the third month, there's a whole host of independent trading. But again, it starts with having an indicator or a process they can actually follow, right? So for us, a lot of this is momentum, and momentum is a simple concept to understand. I think most people can get their head around it. The problem is, even with the indicator, they end up not doing it because they're not in the right environment where their feet's getting held to the fire. And so, like for example, you can look at the S&P 500 here. This is just a daily chart. And we can go into the live charts as well afterwards if you guys want a bit more. And this is on TradingView. If you're wondering if you want access to the indicator, we'll give you access later. You can slap it on the TradingView, which is just a website. It's tradingview.com. You can just, we'll give you access to the indicator. But you can see, for example, we received a buy signal, and now we're obviously this is a historical chart, but you can see as the green ribbon changed color, so green goes to red, S&P goes down, then it goes back to green, S&P goes up. This is a daily chart. You can look at this on dailies and intraday charts or weekly charts, whatever your time frame is, whether you're a trader or an investor or something in between. My AMD, they had a buy signal where you can see the ribbon turned to green and then just rallied like 60%. And it doesn't matter whether you're using options or futures or ETFs. Leverage is just leverage. So if you're gonna do an options trade or a futures trade, that's just based on the underlying asset moving, and then you execute with an option. Let's say if you want to trade a stock or an ETF with leverage. The gold mining stocks, you can see they went from bearish momentum to bullish momentum and then back to bearish, right? So these are very simple to execute repeatable buy and sell signals. Again, it's nice to have the indicator, and again, you guys can have access to it. The issue is repeatability. Most people don't actually stick to the process because they're never in the right environment where they're using that process every single day, because they're sitting alone at home or in some trading desk somewhere, and no one's actually with them to hold them accountable. And that makes a big difference. You can see another one here as the ribbon changes, so this is stock's direction. And that gets me back to Jeanette, because she has been working with a protege, which is a really cool story. He's using exactly this process. So Jeanette, I'm going to pass it back to you so you can enlighten our folks what's been going on in your end, your neck of the woods.
I got you, man. All right, so let's talk about old me versus new me. And I want y'all to start thinking about yourself like that. And I've trained thousands of traders, so has Serge. And the psychology of trading and being open to change, being open to changing your mind about what can work for you is huge in success. Okay. Now I've got this kid that's been working with me this summer. He's going to be a sophomore at Auburn in the fall, and he's 19 years old. And his mom called me up and she said, I'm concerned. Wes is he's day trading. He's up at school day trading. I see money flying out the window. Instead of going to the bars and partying, he's using that money to trade. And Eric and I are very concerned. And we know you trade. We know you get it. Will you talk to him? And I said, sure, I'll talk to him. And so we started conversations while he was still in school before the summer started. And I gave him some books to read, some tools, showed him how to use AI a little bit. And Serge is going to talk about how he uses AI in a minute as well. I showed him some ways to start tracking what he was doing because he was just free balling over there, right? He's a tape reading, gut trading, too many indicators on his screen kid blowing up his account weekly. And it ain't even his money, right? It's his mama's money. And that's why she called me. So if we go back to like the old me versus new me, I was trained as a tape reader, and that's what the kid's doing, right? Excuse me, I never use indicators or tech properly to get repeatable results. And so I didn't get repeatable results until I added some of Surge's tools to the setups and trading 25 years plus, right, in futures. But I rarely dabbled in stocks. I had some long-term silver, crypto. Serge got me into the gold. But he also taught me a way to trade stocks that it finally gave me confidence to use the power of stocks to swing and position trade. Now, day trader at heart. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But even me, non-stock trader, besides my long-term positions, was able to find success with using the process. And are they all winners? Nuh-uh, they're not. Okay. That GLD trade, that is my trade of my life. I'm going to talk about that until the fat lady sings. That OKLO, I mean, that trade I loved. It was a lot faster and paid really nicely. The Nike trade, that was my fault. The Nike trade, the process said get in. I got in. I let my gut take over, and I ended up staying too long. I didn't get out when I was supposed to get out, and so that's my fault. Raise your right hand and say, been there, done that, because you know you have. All right, so back to the kid, right? His name is Wes, and so I said, Wes, why don't you come intern with me this summer, and let's get your trading dialed in before you go back to school, because your mom and dad are going to pull the plug on it for sure soon. And so we made a focus market, the micro NASDAQ. And so if you're trading futures, then you know what the micro NASDAQ is, right? It's a very inexpensive way to trade the micro version of the NASDAQ futures. And you can take big losses and not get your ass kicked while you're learning to trade. And so that's why I said, all right, Wes, we're going to stop trading the mini. Let's go trade the micro. I'm going to give you a process. I'm going to give you a tool. I gave him one tool, the one Serge has been talking about. And so there's three simple parts to the indicator that's on the screen. And the one main thing I want you to look at is that where the orange arrow is pointing to that triangle, that green triangle. That was the indication to go long, to buy. And all right, so first of all, disclaimer. I'm about to talk about day trading for like the next 6 minutes, but Serge is not all about day trading or swing or long term. He's about making money when we have an opportunity. So like in 2025, if y'all were around, he raised the flag and said, the market is giving us a bunch of day trading opportunity and we cannot ignore it. And he was not a day trader at heart, but he said, I'm going. And I was like, let's go, put me in, that's my jam. And so that became for me using this indicator that I'm showing on the screen right now. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the trades that we did and then show you some statistics on the kid. Remember the kid, he's 19. He's a gunslinger. He's a kid. And I've put a process in place for him. And when you see the results make me think of the turtle traders. All right, look, 80 points on the micro there, 156 points. We were in this trade for 3 hours. That's a really long time to be in a trade like this, but we let the process pay us. And if you look at this, you see this orange arrow where we were supposed to go short. All right, look, and if you look down to the target are those green dots, that line of green dots. That thing right there, total proof right there, right? That it went right to the target. May 28th. This was the biggest moneymaker that Wes had made that in that first month with me. $602 in 17 minutes. And this trade was it was a butt kicker, right? It didn't just it kicked around on the numbers so hard on us. We were like, I think we almost gave up like 4 times. But I was trying to teach him the process, and I was trying to stand back. And we ended up, as you can see, what the opportunity was there. And so back to the turtle traders. If you know anything about Richard Dennis, he did this experiment where he ran an ad in the Wall Street Journal. This was a long time ago. It's like in the 80s, I think. And he was looking for people to come and trade, right? And they thought they were going to get a handful of people that were interested in this experiment of his. And they had so many people apply, and they had to whittle it down to just a narrow group. And then out of that group came what they call the turtle traders, the guys that were able to take a process, a specific set of rules, put them into play every day with the statistics in their favor that if they just traded by the rules, they were going to be able to be successful. And the majority of people failed. They went off the mountain, right? Because they couldn't hold on to the rope the way the guy told them to. The other guys came out on top. And so I took that concept. I made Wes read the book, and I said, look, that's what we're going to do this summer. I'm going to make you a turtle. And in May, he had a win rate of 66.7%. He had 5 losers, but the gains wiped those 5 losers out very quickly. I mean, I'm talking like a couple of the buys, the runs and the buys took the losers out. This was posted up through the 22nd. We're now over 72% on the win rate for June. He's had 2 more big days. I haven't updated the log, but in this situation, 8 wins, 3 losses. It's the same scenario as the month before. And we're talking about a summer market, y'all. We're talking about people go, hey, don't trade in the summer. Step back. There's not opportunity. I call bullshit on that. There's plenty of opportunity. The kid is the proof in what I know now that I can take, anybody could take Serge's strategy and one indicator and be able to duplicate results. It is about process. It is about environment. Serge went over that earlier. And it's all about like anyone can do it. So let's talk about anyone can do it, okay? I want y'all to I'm about to tell you the time of day all these trades happened, okay? Anyone can do it. Tell me what you do for a living right now. I ask this all the time because I'm curious to know where you're at in your journey. Are you, a majority of people we see in here are retired or semi or pre-retired. That's the move they're about to make. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their discretionary income, try to generate income, try to generate wealth. All of that means you're here to learn to put yourself in that position. And if you're not that, say you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, you're not to the point where you feel like you are pre-retired. The kid is case in point, right? He's 19. Y'all, he's a kid. He's a boy. And I have a lot of things to say about boys and their decision processes. I raised one. He's 26, still raising him, I think, on some days. Where you have a very specific structure and you immerse yourself in an environment to take advantage of that structure, which is what I did with him. I made him come here every day, sitting right across from me. We were able to create these results. And to me, I've always wanted to do that. And I had it handed to me when his mom called that day. The time of day on that trade, 9:15 to 10:15 a.m. Eastern. I don't care if you're not a day trader, right? You don't have to take this trade. The point is the process. When you find a process that works consistently using, in this case, I didn't give him all the tools. I gave him one tool and he was able to come out like that. And it's not just futures, right? Let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about what happens in the stock market too, and in ETFs, and our members put it out there for us every day.
Just this morning, actually, I'll show you guys in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, I've got it in here.
Awesome.
I'm about to show it to you.
Awesome.
1,850 days, this guy trading the NDX. Dr. Ray, 22% in UNG. Like I can show y'all. I don't even know how many of those. When I show you in a minute, once we get to the part where we share with you today's offer, you're going to see just this morning what the traders that were in there with Serge did. And I'm super impressed, Serge. I looked at it and I'm pumped. All right. So 40% B&O, same situation, right? This trade lasted a month. 13.6 in TAN. This trade lasted 7 days. The point I'm making here is it's not just day trading. It's not just swing. Some of it is going to take a minute. Some of it is going to pay you big. You got to be patient. You got to be in the environment. KMI, 12.7%, 1 month. CPER, a 6-month trade. We took away 20% in this. 29.5%. I was in this particular trade. I mean, Serge turned me onto this stock and I love it. I love this stock. ERO 20.44%, May the 12th. All right. This was a 1 day trade, 24 hours. 24 hours in the trade. Y'all down to make 20% in 24 hours? I sure as hell am. I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. Now, Serge is also using, I mentioned earlier, he's using AI in his trading. And so I'm gonna give you guys he's gonna give you a little taste of for those who join our program today, the bonuses and how he's using AI. And this is gonna be helpful for anybody. So I want y'all to stick through this with us. We're gonna show you what we're doing, and then we're gonna take some tickers and some questions on what's happening in the market right now. All right. So Serge, I dropped a link for you in your Slack to make sure you have to get to this slide. It's slide 84.
Sure. Yep.
All right.
80, I think it's 80, right?
Nope. It's 84. So you make sure you grab the link that's in the. Oh wait, you're right. You're right. 80. Sorry, I'm doing two different things. I got two decks.
All right. So
all right. Let me give you the power. It should be coming your way now.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So does anyone in here use AI for their trading?
I want everybody to put your fingers on the keyboard right now and tell us, like, yes, no, or want to. Like, everybody's got a very strong opinion about AI, but I think once you see just a couple of things that it can do to help you with your trading, you're gonna be like, hell yeah, I gotta have it.
I think a lot of people have sort of like a view that AI is just going to magically print us money out of thin air. Right now, where AI is at, we can deploy machine learning and generate strategies and decision making and analysis and make life easier for us. That's kind of like the main thing right now that we can use it for. And so one of the things that we are using AI for right now, and we host a morning call with our clients where we go through this. So, I mean, AI can just immediately find us stocks and ETFs to watch, and then we can apply our own indicator to actually get the signal, right? There's a lot of pattern recognition and strategy automation and stuff like that can be used. So we've got like a 15-minute morning routine that we share with people using AI. It could probably be done in like a few minutes, but we say 15 minutes just to be on the safe side. So AI is very, very powerful in that. We also share with people portfolio hedging strategy right now. I think a lot of people want to hold on to their gains. A lot of people, I don't know how many of you guys have portfolios here today. I'm assuming most of you. You probably want to hold on to your gains. Some people they want to sell their winners because of tax reasons, which I can understand, of course. So there's ways to hold on to those gains by using very simple and effective hedging strategies. Things like being in a sort of a rolling put option strategy, even using the inverse ETFs to some extent, or dynamic cash reserves, which is more of a T-bill strategy, right? So those are very simple things to do, but that's something that we're talking to our clients with right now in the morning call. So we're very excited to introduce you guys to something very special, and it's actually called our Income Accelerator. And I think right now we've reached a point where markets are at a crossroads. Not that we're here to expect markets to fall apart, but the dynamics underneath the markets are changing. They change all the time, right? So I could say this at any given point, but I think at the margin, the delta is bigger now. Like there's larger changes taking place right now, particularly considering where we're at in the time of year, the time of the even something as simple as the midterms election year. There's a lot of things coming together here, and of course the fund flows, which is more important. So in our live morning call, what we actually do is we put you and we immerse you into a live
in a live environment, and in that environment, we're able to take you through that morning process every single morning, Monday through Thursday. So what you'll learn how to watch what our process is. You'll execute it, and you'll learn and repeat. It all starts with my recap of our hedge fund call that I have with about 10 professional trading desks around the world, and then we go into and do trades. Like for example, this morning, this is literally what happened this morning, and we'll show you guys. Jeanette has the slide afterwards, and we'll go through it. Where we live took a trade here. This again, it's not about day trading. There will be day trades. There's a ton of swing trades and a lot of investment ideas. It's just part of the morning process. So you see when the ribbon of, and again, you guys can all have access to this indicator here in a minute. Then you wait for the ribbon to turn green, and then it turns into a buy signal. And I will show you in a minute that people, they all made money. They told us, I even took a screenshot of the thing so you guys can see it. And you can see that the trade's still working. This is still live. Like the ribbon is still green. It's up 86 basis points. You could have done this with futures on the NASDAQ futures or S&P futures or the NASDAQ 100 or a levered ETF, for example, which I know a lot of you guys like to trade. Right, so the execution vehicle is not as important as the actual signal. So you'll watch, you learn, you execute, you review, and you repeat, and that's the most important part, right? And at the end of the day, as you said before, over the course of 90 days, there's 3 phases that you will go through. And we've seen this now with, it's just like the Turtle Trader experience that hopefully you guys have read about. It's a great book. It's one of the early books I read when I started working in this business 26 years ago, but also what Jeanette's now doing with her protege. All right. So in the first sort of, 60 days, you'll gain a lot more confidence. We typically start with quicker trades to get you confidence up. This is the morning part of the morning routine. Then in phase 2, you'll get more consistent. So this is where you start learning how to ride trends more, right? And independence ultimately is where it all comes together, and you really turn into a portfolio manager of your own money or maybe other people's money, whatever you choose to do. So that sort of live guidance, really, it sets the process. You can see the process and then execute every morning, Monday through Thursday. It does get recorded, and so you don't have to worry about missing that. You can kind of think about like going to the gym, right? Like if you just go to the gym and you do a couple things a couple times a week, that's probably not enough. But you get stronger the more you go, the more consistently you show up. And so having a coach helps you avoid mistakes, stay accountable, and get results better and faster. I don't know if any of you guys ever had a physical, like an actual private coach in the gym. It's a whole different experience. The markets are very similar now. So we provide that morning call, that guidance, that coaching, if you will, that repeatable process. But your success comes from putting in the reps every day. It's just how it is, And over time, I think the more consistent repeatability turns into confidence, skill, and income potential. And again, just quick update here on this trade from this morning. It continues to work. We finished our morning call at this point a couple of hours ago. And look at this. The Nasdaq's now up almost 1%, 90 basis points now since then. So that continues to work. So for those of you guys that want to join our accelerated program, we're going to give you access right now for lifetime to our trend ruler indicator. That is this right here. That's literally still working right now, as you guys can see. And this is live. I'm not making this up. So if you guys want access to that, just make sure you grab the income accelerator right now for $997. It's actually a value of $997, this indicator itself, but we're going to throw it in as a lifetime access for you right now. Now, another bonus we have, and this is a big one. So in the morning when we get together in our morning call, the first thing I do typically, well, first of all, first I try to give you a trade right now, right then and there. So hopefully we can make some money, some cash flow. And then we go into other stuff and look at other opportunities a bit longer term and so on and so for the medium term and swing trades and stuff like that. But one of the first things that we do is I take you through the hedge fund morning call that I just finished off, usually about an hour before. And that is a morning call that I do with about 10 institutions around the globe. Some of them are family offices. Some of them are
trading desks of professional, banks and stuff like that. And these are just people I've worked with through the course of my life. And I take you to exactly what we talked about. Like this morning, not kidding, this is literally what happened. We opened up the room and said, "Hey guys, it's like a webinar setting, right? Listen, guys, we think there's month-end, quarterly, and end of quarter window dressing, and there we are, right? Here's what's happened. We even gave people a target on the S&P 500. Said, listen, probably going to fill that gap. You'll learn all this, and here we are, and we're still going higher. Now the Nasdaq is almost up 1% now since the entry. So, if you're in Accelerator, by the way, and hopefully you can tell us how much money you made this morning. We've got a slide on that. I just took a screenshot this morning. Another thing that we do, and this is another bonus. I think the value is like almost 13. Yeah, there you go, $1,297. So this is access to we have a room. They're like chat rooms where we post charts and things. So the charts and the information that we go through in the morning call, we dump into a room. So for example, it might look like this, where I put in charts and things so people can follow, or even research we come across. Like this is literally from this morning, right? You can see that chart that I just showed you, we posted in there so people can have like a chart depository and follow. So this is a very valuable. We give you guys access to that as well. Also, over the next 90 days, we think markets are going to change quite a bit. So there's a mock portfolio, may even do two, that we're going to give you access to. Remember, we can't give you recommendations, right? So it's not investment advice, but through the lens of education and a repeatable process, we can give you access to a mock portfolio with an asset allocation that I think is worth considering, because most people are just long Max 7 stocks, and that train is slowly departing the station. Very importantly, this is another value of $400. We have a member success call. The onboarding schedule call is really important, and we take you through a little risk assessment, so you know exactly kind of how you actually ideally like to approach the market. And then we talked about it before, that 15-minute AI routine. We're going to give you those prompts that you can use in the morning to make your life easier. Like, I mean, we say a 15-minute morning routine. It'll be like 5 minutes when you do it a couple times, but it's going to give you right away things to watch. Then we run the ideas through our indicators, our momentum indicator, for example, the trend ruler, which, by the way, still long the Nasdaq 100. I'm giving you an update here, like a real time. So that's always nice. And throughout the 90 days, we actually do a special topic. So, for example, one topic we're working on, I think we're going to start opening up next week, is how to actually trade a bear market. And oh my God, we'll never have a bear market again because AI is going to do everything for us. We're going to have a bear market again, trust me, at some point. And a lot of people don't even know what a bear market is, and they definitely don't know how to trade it. We haven't had one in 15 years, just to be clear, like a real one. And so those are, I think, important things. We'll weave these in addition to, of course, the regular morning session. So you have to go to the steadytrader.com/insight to get access to this. I'm going to quickly type this into the chat box or the questions box I posted in? I don't even know.
I think you got to put it in the chat box. Yeah,
box.
Y'all, we're new to Zoom, so we're trying to figure out. Somebody asked if we prefer
Why don't you
chat
take
Q&A.
people through this quickly, Jen, and I'll type the link into.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I'll keep my slide up.
Yeah. So should be another slide that has all the bonuses on it. Hang on.
Oh, and this was just this morning. You guys will see this in a second. Yeah.
Okay, just leave it there. It's fine. I know what the bonuses are. All right, so you're going to get all the bonuses. You're going to get 90 days in the workshop room with Serge on that morning call. You're going to get access to the chat that he's been talking about, where he posts trade alerts throughout the day. And those are, look, there's rooms in there where you can talk to other traders if you want, but then there's just one dedicated chat where Serge posts the trade alerts and charts and updates. And there's no discussion in there. So if you're just trying to get the meat, all you got to do is go to that one tab and you can read it, and you don't have to worry about if you don't want to be part of the community side of it. We take PayPal. We also have our coaches standing by. You can call them if you need help trying to decide what to do here, or you just would rather call somebody and place an order over the phone. It's 561-769-3025. It's a 12-week process, guys. And I know some people might be like, 12 weeks, that sounds like in the course of your life, in the course of trading, 12 weeks ain't shit. It's like, get it and do it. Watching the kid for the last 60 days, all of this is the culmination of where Serge and I sat down and he said, I think we're going to have to create a longer term environment for people to really get them dialed in and get them to see the changing, the ebb and flow, the opportunity in this market, besides the fact that we got a big shift going on right now. All right, looks like Serge just placed it in the webinar chat for y'all, the link, so you can copy paste that. And he put the phone number in there too. So as soon as you sign up, you're going to get the trend ruler indicator that he's been talking about, and you get to keep the trend ruler for life. So if you stay with us for 90 days in the accelerator, and then you decide you don't need that anymore, you still get to keep the indicator. And so that's, not a lot of times companies will do that, let you keep the tool, but we're going to let you keep the tool. That's how powerful we think it is for you. You get the morning call with him. You get the chat we just talked about, the mock portfolio, the diagnostic report about your personal trading situation, so we can try to help diagnose big problems you have and then help you fix them. And then that 15-minute AI routine. I see lots of people in here saying, I want to use AI. I don't know how. When he says the prompt, he's gonna show you exactly what website to go to, give you the words to copy paste into it, and then it's going to spit out a bunch of data for you. And you do that every single day. And it's going to show you the power of how to use AI with your trading and investing. And I mean that a lot of people are doing it out there. They're claiming that they're using AI or that they have some great AI tool. You don't need some big, massive AI tool to help you with your trading. You just need one simple thing, and that's what he's built for you. And every week, the 12-week series is going to have special topics. He's going to talk about the AI stuff. He's going to talk about hedging. He's going to start talking about bear market because we got to be ready for that, right? We don't know, but we got to be ready for it.
Yeah, and Jeanette, I mean, just to quickly go back, like this is like what we'll take what this is not. This is not like me giving you like reading material and you having to go back to school. Like what it is about is live stuff, right? Live analysis, live trades. You're going to be trading live with us. Whether you're day trading or taking swing trades, whatever. Remember, we can't give you recommendations, so we're not your investment advisor. It's very clear. This is oil today. Okay, ribbon turns from green to red. And oil so far today is down about 1.6%. We looked at the NASDAQ 100 before, the QQQ. Remember? Like I'm not making this stuff up. This is literally happening. And it's like, since we talk about it, it's up even more right now. This is what happened this morning. This morning, right? This is just in the actual chat box. So I was asking people, how much money did you make of those people who took this trade? Ken's made $365. Ed made 300. And there was another one who made there you go, 200, Rob at the bottom.
On 3 contracts in the SPY. I see.
And these people in this case, they bought like options or something, or they may have bought futures. It doesn't really matter what they did. The point is they made money, right? It was this trade. Some people like to do the trade with options. We'll tell them exactly what we like to do. So in this case, they bought some call options. Or maybe maybe they buy a levered ETF, or they buy futures. The point is the direction of the trade. It's all based on a NASDAQ 100 in this case. Right? This could have been an individual stock. That was just today. So I just thought I would quickly show you guys. And just, oops. So that stopped. Let me quickly share this with you. That ended about, I don't know, a couple hours ago. And here. And you can see that since then, the NASDAQ pulled back and it's now even higher and still going. So anyway, just so you guys know. So the bonus is I think what you wanted is this slide, right? Jeanette, so you can have that
to look at. But what I'd like to do now is, Jen, let's just go into the market a bit more so people can see. I mean, there's not a whole lot more I can show you, like literally right now. This is like what's happening, right? But if
Yeah.
you guys have tickers you want to look at, let us know if there's something that's on your mind that you want to spend a bit more time on, you want to make sense of. I mean, one thing I can tell you that we've been big on is a lot of money has been moving into, and this has been a big part of our morning calls, a lot of money has been moving into things in the healthcare space, stocks, right? So like, for example, I'm going to quickly walk you guys through this here. If you give me just 1 second. Like, for example, a lot of money has been rotating into, and by the way, NASDAQ 100 is still pushing higher. Just keeping you updated. I feel like I'm narrating a soccer game or something. I want to give you guys a daily chart on this, on this, so you guys can see this clearly. So here, so we've been talking a lot about money rotating into healthcare stocks, right? Or levered versions of that. So one thing, for example, has been the ARC-G ETF. So this is one of Kathy Wood's ETFs on basically healthcare growth. And that buy signal occurred somewhere around the 20th or 21st of May. So somewhere around up 40%, right? It's just a ribbon to ribbon. So if you like an indicator that you can actually follow repeatedly, and you want lifetime access to it, like, we'll never take this away from you, then just go ahead and grab it on that link right there. And then you get access for 90 days to our morning call, right? So what is the morning call? Again, it's not, me giving you boring reading materials. It's an actual morning call. So for 30 minutes every morning, Monday through Thursday, we go to the market. I show you exactly what we're looking at. We might do a live trade. Usually there is one. Like, this is still happening. We're live right now. So that's what this is all about. And the reason why it's 90 days is because a couple days or a couple of weeks are not enough. You need the muscle memory, right? Do you have to show up every single day? No, but maybe good if you do. You can watch the recordings, right? They're always actionable trades and ideas. All these things I'm showing here are stuff that we just have been telling people, and a lot of it's momentum based, right? We also do a lot of trend following stuff where we stay with stuff for a long trend. Like, one thing we've been telling people, and I showed you guys before, is that the trends have been changing from neutral, so from bullish to neutral to bearish on major stocks like Palantir, Microsoft, all over the past 6 months plus. And that saved a lot of people's butts, So that's a big part of what we do as well, to make sure that people understand that process of what we're doing. Okay. What are some of the questions, Jeanette, that we could address?
All right,
as well?
sir, can you hear me?
Yep.
Jamie is asking, what time frames are you using on your day trading charts?
Yep. So these are 5-minute bars right here that you're watching on the NASDAQ 100, and on the daily charts, if it's an actual swing trade, multi-day, multi-week, these are daily bars, right? So an ARC Genomics ETF, for example, this thing's up now 40%. These are, each one of these bars is 1 day, right? The morning call starts at 9:30 Eastern, so it's 6:30 Pacific, 8:30 Central, so on and so forth. Go about 30 minutes.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, we go about 30 minutes. Sometimes more. This morning we went a bit longer, just because there's a lot of great stuff to go through. And my goal is for you to make money, as much as possible. I mean, just look at this. So $4.97 for 90 days, plus you get lifetime access to the indicator. Let's just quickly go back to what these people wrote just this morning. That's kind of my point. Like, I'm not making this up, right? They didn't send me their account statements, but they did send me. Where the hell is it now? Okay. They did send me what they did this morning.
It's like 3 back from the full offer slide.
So if Ken made 365 this morning, that's $100 shy of the 497. Ed made 300. That's in 1 day. It's like half an hour is actually what that was. you know? So anyway, and you can use PayPal too. Um, I should say, and I should have mentioned this before. Sorry, guys. We're taking 25 people because we want to be able to onboard everyone individually, right? Because otherwise, you guys don't get that high quality experience that we want you to have, and quite frankly, that you deserve, right? So the
Right.
90 days start when you join. It's a rolling thing. So the 90 days for you start when you join.
All right. Trey is saying he got voicemail when he called the number. Trey, that just means they're on the phone. You can leave a message, or you can just wait a couple of minutes and try back. If you're trying to get in and you have not been able to reach them, you guys, you can always go to the webinar chat and post your phone number, and that'll let me know that you're trying to be in on the top 25 to get all the bonuses and the price. And I'll make sure that we add you in, whether we hit that number or not. I'll make sure you get in. All right, Serge, do you use trailing stops in your swing trades?
Yes, we do. So the trailing stop essentially in the case of the trend ruler indicator, which you guys all get lifetime access to if you join us here, the trailing stop essentially is embedded in the color. So when the color changes, that's your trailing stops. It's super simple. And by the way, the Nasdaq 100 continues to push higher.
All right. On YouTube, we have a question. It's kind of lengthy. It's about the Bitcoin rally for 1,000+ days, makes a new high, then drops for 364 days before making a new low. It seems like it's a cycle that is repeating. Have you noticed it?
Yes. So there's a lot of cycles and theories. What I can tell you is that Bitcoin is a story of two time frames. It's a trend following story and it's a momentum story. And it typically starts with momentum. I'm going to show you something right now that's going to make you shiver, and hopefully maybe even kind of throw up in your mouth a little bit.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, there's an ETF out there, MSTR, actually stock, excuse me. This is Michael Saylor's strategy company. So, and we can go back way further. I'm just showing you the latest signals. Okay. So I'm sure, and notice my sarcasm here, that your favorite, chart pumper friends and brokers gave you a call right there when that ribbon turned red. Who got a call from your favorite stock pumper on TV, tell you that MSTR is about to turn bearish? By the way, it's down 47, call it 48% since then in a straight line. I know you didn't get that call. So, but a quantitatively driven, drama-free, no emotions involved tool that you can actually follow will do that. So the ribbon you can see turned from red to green to red right there on about the 19th of May. Thing is down 47%. Did the talking heads on TV promise you that MSTR and Bitcoin are all going to go to the moon again? Of course they did. That's what they do. You can't listen to that. 4-year cycles, all the stuff that you mentioned, that's nice and beautiful. The problem is markets don't work that way, right? You need an emotionless tool and a process that, more importantly, a process that allows you to follow the tool. You see? And tool isn't maybe not the best sort of word to use there. Yeah. Brandon's right. That was a gap down. That's nice little sort of, addition. Yes, that helps. That's not what this is based on, but yes, that happened there too. That can happen plenty of times and it doesn't mean anything, like it happened there, down gap, and that meant nothing. Stock right back up. So there has to be a bit more to that. But yes, in isolation, that's true. And so look, Bitcoin at some point is going to have bullish momentum again, and then we'll see if it turns into a bullish trend. And in the morning call, that's what we go through as well, that entire process. Options. If you are going to use options, is this something helpful? Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, the signal is the signal. Like a lot of people, because we live in a gambling bubble, a lot of people are taught all these option strategies without learning how to analyze the underlying asset, be that a stock, an ETF, or whatever you're trading. An option is just a levered way or a hedged way of expressing the view on an underlying asset. So you need to learn how to analyze the underlying asset first, right? So you need momentum tool, which is what this is, and maybe a process around that. And so once you have that, then that goes a very long way, right?
All right, Serge, I'm new. I want to try that micro trade Jeanette mentioned. Will you talk about the NASDAQ at all during the workshop?
Look at your screen. What is that
Yeah,
chart right there?
there's your proof. I'm sure that laugh just probably broke some people's speakers. Sorry about that. Okay, and you just covered, all right, Tam is asking about option setups in the morning sessions. You just covered that. All right. Smith is asking if he can talk to someone before joining. Yes, Smith, you can call 561-769-3025. In fact, if you're wanting to talk to somebody, we'd encourage it. They'll answer all your questions and make sure that it's a fit for you before you enroll. And the goal here, it's a 90-day run, y'all. And that's like, it's a smidge in your life as a trader. It helped you get that discipline and that comeback and that process. And I mean, if you can't get in there and get your act cleaned up and find one trade that or strategy that suits your lifestyle, your fancy or whatever, then I mean, I don't know what to say. You probably shouldn't be trading because the Surge serves it up on a silver platter, basically. I mean, obviously, you can see just what happened this morning. And that's not
Yeah,
just a
and that's
this
still
morning
going. I
thing. That's
mean,
an everyday thing.
yeah, I mean, look, are we going to hit home runs every single day, 24/7? No. The only people who do that are people that are fake trading on YouTube, and there's a lot of those, right? That's just a bunch of crap. Forget all that. And it's about the process, and it's not about day trading or swing trading. It's about making money. There's opportunity in different time frames and different things using a process. So if you trade stocks, you need a process. If you are trading options, you need a process. If you're trading futures, if you're day trading, swing trading, if you're investing, you need a process. And the process starts with a morning call. So the morning call, as I said before, is basically that we do together for 30 odd minutes with all these ideas. A lot of it comes right after my internal morning call with again, a bunch of family offices, hedge funds, and trading desks around the globe. They're in New York, London, Zurich, and Palm Beach, and I think one guy's in Hong Kong. So yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna let you answer this, but I could too. Bill is asking, is this possible for someone who works 24-hour shifts and is not available every day?
Yes, if you're working 24-hour shifts, Bill, in all due respect, you're probably a robot, not a human being. I think even most people need to sleep a few hours a day. But all jokes aside, yes, what you
Yeah.
need to learn is a process. You can be there live, and that's great, right? But yeah, I understand. Implied, I get it, but still, the point is you need. It's not about this is not a bunch of pre-recorded videos if we're doing stuff live. You can watch it afterwards. Doesn't matter. You'll learn the process just as much. You see. So yes, absolutely. The answer is absolutely yes. Yeah. So
And
you're seeing it.
and
Yeah.
we're keeping these at 30 minutes or roughly every day because the point is to get in there, to get our hands dirty, find some trades, some setups, talk opportunity, talk about the market, learn something, and then go back to our day. And so that makes it very easy for the person that can't be there live every day to be able to watch those recordings and keep up with all the ideas that are being put out there and also the trade setups and how they play out. And that's going to be the proof for you. A lot of people who aren't trading yet, they just need proof. They need to see that, that what you do works and that they can visually see it on a chart or, through the video where they go and watch the trades play out, the ideas play out, these bigger ideas, not just like a trade every day. And so I would say that if you're, if you have to work and you don't have time to be there every day, then all day long you need to join and start watching that process because by the time you get through whether it takes you 30 days or 45 or whatever, you'll even on your 24-hour shift, you'll be able to see some of the opportunities that are right there in front of you because you'll be able to set it and forget it. You won't have to be there and stare at the screen and watch the trade play out. You'll be able to put the trade on and then be available when the phone rings.
Yeah, I mean, just so people know, so Bill is a fireman, so that makes sense, right?
Yep.
What I would not do, Bill, if all of a sudden at 10 minutes into the morning call, you get the siren and you got to go jump and put out a fire. If it's a day trade, you're trying to get out of that damn day trade, right? If there's a new idea, if we're presenting you with like an idea of the process, that's like a swing trade or an investment idea, that has nothing to do with the next 5 minutes or the next 30 minutes, right? So that's the only thing I would mention there. But definitely, if you got to go put out a fire, first of all, that's more important. Save lives, but that's the only thing I would mention, which I think is kind of what you're implying, at least to some extent, in that question. This is not about hectic clicking around the market. We will give you day trades. Here's one of them. It's happening literally right, like this is live right now. But it's about, like for example, and again, a lot of people who use this process should have been very happy and are happy they got out of MSTR way before, by the way. MSTR has been in a bearish trend for months and months. This is just the latest trade. It went bearish and the stock's down like 40% or whatever. But, even something like, you look at something like Micron Technology, right? Everyone's heard of this thing before. So if you use the trend momentum indicator, that momentum started on about 8th of April. The stock is now up at 191%. Could have bought a call option and be up 4x that, like 1,000%. I'm not promising these riches. I'm just telling you factually what happened here on the chart. Like this is actually the signals that appeared. The problem with most people is when they're in a trade like this, they will get out way too early because they think, oh, it can continue, whatever. But momentum is one of those things where it kind of defies gravity a lot of times until it doesn't. And that's why the morning call is so important, because we're able to kind of, go through that whole process and make sure we stick to it. I mean, there's like, I'll give you one idea, or not an idea, and a fact that I didn't do myself, which is infuriating. Look at the S&P 500, for example. So this is the S&P 500. Again, this is using the trend or momentum indicator, and you can see, the trend ruler, which is the one with the ribbon here at the bottom. And you can see it went from bearish momentum to bullish momentum in April 7th. And I did not take the damn trade based on my own stupid signals. I mean, I ended up doing some, but just nowhere near what I should have. And that's really a big part of the morning process, making sure we stick to it. So I don't know how many slots are left, Jeanette, but we're probably going to wrap it up here. Make sure that we close after those 25 people have joined, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. I want to welcome Tim. I want to welcome Thomas. We had Susan and Pamela. We have Don. We have Michelle. We have Gary. We have John. Looking. We have Rachel, and we have Charles. And we have Ross, and we have Schumann. Okay. All right. So I don't know how many that is. I just named. I have to count. Looks like we have about 6 spots left in total. All right. 6 spots left. After those 6 spots are filled, it's going to shut down. I see several of you have put your phone number in the webinar chat for me. I have passed those along to our success team so they can reach out to you if you don't get your order in time. But you can use the link, thesteadytrader.com/inside, and go ahead and place your order. It's electronic. And then some emails will start firing off to you, and you'll get access to stuff. And then you'll be able to join Surge live tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys there. Awesome.
All right.
By the way, if you want to use PayPal, they also help you finance that. Like that's with PayPal. Like we don't do that, but PayPal will do that for you. So if you want to do that, all you got to do is go to thesteadytrader.com/inside, and then PayPal takes care of that.
All right, Serge, I'm gonna
Cool.
I'm gonna take it back from you.
Please
and
do.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. If we did not get to your questions, you guys, no fret. We will have them passed along to the success team, and they'll reach out to you. I hope everybody has a happy holiday weekend, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the inside.
Thanks.